Order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and first off, we'll make some changes to the order of the meeting. Everything that's on here will occur. It'll just change where under action items, items C, D, E, and F will all be at the top of our action items, followed by an executive session, and then we will finish with action items A, B, G, and H. So if you need me to repeat that, Kat.
Got it,
To make
thank you.
sure you got it, okay. Okay, so we will now move to approval of the consent agenda, and let's all remember to put our microphones on. Any discussion with respect to the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of voting to approve the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. We'll go ahead and move into public participation time. It looks like we do, if you want to grab me that, we do have a couple folks who have requested in advance. First I have is Brianna Smith. No, Brianna Smith?
She should be online.
Okay. Richard, if you're...
Hi.
Oh, hello.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm Brianna Smith. I can wait.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. And we do have your printed information here too, so start whenever you are able.
Okay. Is that the map that you have?
That is in our packet, but we also have the your written request here.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share. I am a current resident of Newburgh, of course, but grew up living on the south side. And one of my favorite memories is being able to run around with my friends, hang out at the local parks. I still keep in touch with some of those friends today. Now I live on the north end of town, on Barbarous Way, right off of North Valley Road. And we don't have a park in our neighborhood that's available to our children year round. So I am proposing that CPRD snatch up a couple of the open lots that are left in our neighborhood and turn them into public use areas for our children for sure, but also just for residents within our growing community. We have a ton of young families that have moved into our neighborhood. There are babies being born every few months, so you can just imagine how many kids will be running around on those streets. And the two open lots that have yet to be built on are too small to build homes on. I've heard rumors that maybe the builders would try to change the building code to build taller to fit on those lots. I don't know if they're pursuing that. When I met the builder recently, they just kind of were not sure what to do with the land and said that they would be very interested in selling it or doing something with it. And so I'm looking at CPRD to see if you guys could partner with us to make something beautiful with those spaces. So it could be a green space, could be a playground for kids, but something that would be accessible is what we'd be looking for.
Okay. Is staff aware if the developer of that area has reached out to us at any point regarding development of a pocket park or anything like that? Okay. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Well,
I'm
thank
trying to
you.
figure out exactly what we're talking about here.
It's the new development.
There's a few of those in town.
It's kind of, it's that section off of Chehalem Drive.
Okay.
Is there a name for your development?
It's called King's Landing, and
King's
Del Boca Vista is the builder. I passed the email and phone number of one of the builders. It's one of the Wilcutt's family members. He was very much like, get them in touch with me. We would be willing to talk. So I shared email and phone just last week.
So we're talking above Crater Park, is that what we're talking?
Yeah.
Yes.
General area, yeah. Okay, well, thank you. We will follow up on that.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate your guys' time.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I have a couple other folks. Lee Jensen, I'm assuming, is this with the golf course? You guys want to do your statement in the part of the agenda, right? Not separate? Or
We don't have a statement, we're just going to have the
your
speakers.
committee report? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll do all yours at once then, in the agenda, just to make it simple. Okay. Okay, going down my list. Next I have Lauren Pfeiffer. Okay. Yeah, if you could go over there. Great.
Hi, everyone. So two things. I think just real quick, we wanted to thank on behalf of the riders at Crystal Riley Park. Thank you for all the maintenance that has been done over the last couple weeks. It's really, really appreciated. Trails look great. And I know it's been difficult since Russ's passing, but the trails look great. The folks out there have been filling some of the holes, getting ready for winter. So we really appreciate that and really, really notice the work that's being done. So thank you. And the other thing, because I know it's been discussed here and there as we worked on the master plan for the park, we've been riding out there a lot, trying to soak up the last couple days of summer. And every hiker that we've run into, or groups of hikers that we run into, have been really interested in the horses. And it's always, I've never had a negative interaction with hikers there when I'm on horseback. And we started to think about it. I think the thing that's really unique about that park, and going forward, we could even expand on this, we have some ideas, but is that it does give hikers an opportunity to see and interact with the horses. And I think that's unique to any other place that they might be hiking. And learn about the horses, and we talk about the area, etc. So I just wanted to pass that on, that it's been really fun to talk to hikers from the area, and some are new to the park, some hike the park a lot, but it's been nothing but positive feedback. Thank you.
Okay, next I have Ryan Reinhofer.
Hello, good evening. My name is Ryan Reinhofer, and I just wanted to share an update similarly to an email that I sent to the board as far as the formation of the 501c3 and the website that is now live. I hope you all had a chance to look at it, but it's crpequestrians.org, and since launching that a couple weeks ago, which is not very long, and haven't even had a chance to promote it yet, the outpouring and the influx of folks wanting to donate, and wanting to donate for the proposed listed improvements has been really awe-inspiring. I have folks that are wanting to throw money my way, which is always appreciated, so that we can cultivate a larger reserve, if you will, to continue the efforts with partnering and getting improvements done with CPRD. From signage to, a lot of folks are really behind the thought of having a memorial bench for Russ. I know that was spoken to at the last meeting, so I'm not necessarily sure that's what I would do, but the point being, there's been a lot of interest and inquiries and folks wanting to reach out to help with not only donations monetarily, but with volunteer groups, and it just it makes me feel very happy and very proud, and I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of the website. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Bob Freshman.
Oh, actually, I wasn't gonna speak,
Okay,
sorry.
no problem. And then Randy, were you wanting to speak?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Clear.
Okay, next I have Sarah Downey.
Not going to speak, thank you.
No speak? Okay, and then, oh,
think
yours
we
does
covered
say
it,
no?
so-
Okay. and then Lee, speaking with the golf, and then, Dennis, I'm assuming you're presenting with the golf committee. Okay. Okay, did I miss anyone that would like to provide public comment? Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and move to our next item in the amended order, which is the Chehalem Heritage Trails Committee appointments. I know we had a few of them came in after the original agenda was printed. Those were made available to the board via email and additionally printed here. Just so everyone is aware, we did get all of the applications. And I will open it up to the board for discussion.
We're selecting 5, is that it? Or are you're
I
selecting
think
5?
the criteria was minimum of 5, maximum of 7 is what we have in our, what's written here. Yeah, 5 to 7 members. I think there was a total of, was it 11 applications received? So, I think given the popularity, it would make sense to have, do the 7. I don't know, I think there may be some of the applicants here. Of course, if the board wanted to question any of the folks who have applied who are physically here, that would.
I'd love to see
Reasonable.
a raise of hands of who is here. You're in. I don't get to decide by myself.
You know, last time we had the committee, we had like 14 people that were involved, and that whittled down to maybe 6. It's just a recommendation by me, is I'm not sure what they know as far as their expectations of what the committee is expected to do and the rules they need to follow. I don't know if it would be practical to have the staff have a meeting with the folks that are interested and kind of give them an overview of what's going on, and then some people may say, yeah, I'm still on board, and some people may say, I don't have enough time for this, or whatever. I mean, there's some really qualified folks that I saw in here that have some credentials concerning trails and so on. I think that's important, but I also think it's important that we make sure they understand, what they're doing, and they're gonna be running it on their own pretty much, with staff support, and board liaisons are there, so, I don't know what you guys think.
Well, the process has been to make the appointments and then they review the rules and so forth, and I think Kat brings them up to speed as to what is expected of the committee. Obviously, if some of the folks that doesn't work out, then we can fill the spots as they're open. But are you proposing not to fill those spots tonight?
I'm proposing to have a meeting and kind of go over with those folks that are interested in what their expectations are and so on. If they don't know what those are, then I'd rather have them say, okay, I don't think I'm interested now, and then you don't have to pick and choose tonight and have people that may say, oh, I should have been on there and now I'm not. And I'm just throwing it out for the board to talk about. I'm not making any recommendation.
Can I just ask a question of the people who want to be on this committee? Have any of you guys been on the committee before, or you're all new? Have any of you guys had anything to do with trails before?
Yes.
Okay. I love the diversity in this room. I think it's awesome. I don't think that what you're suggesting is a bad idea at all, Jim. Does anybody have it? Do you guys think you have an idea of what is needed to do the trails? Okay. Well, I will say that I hate to wait and just have this go on and on and on and on and on. I'd like to see something get done and let you guys start meeting together, and if somebody wants to drop out, guess what? We can open it up and let somebody else come in here. But I'm the opinion that we've got a group of people who took the time to come here and introduce themselves and make themselves available. I'm of the opinion that anybody who's here, we should go ahead and we should vote them in. That's my opinion.
You have, how many people are applied for the position?
There's 11 total.
And 7 are gonna be.
I'm proposing, yeah,
Seven.
to fill out the full 7. I think I saw
think
a
we
raise
have
of
5
hands
here.
of about 5 people here.
Right.
So, but
Was there any, when the applications went out, does it encourage people to show up at this meeting?
I think you know what I think? I think that if you show up, that means you're really interested. I'm gonna ask one person in this room. I'd like to ask you, why did you come to this meeting today? If you don't mind me asking you.
Well, when I applied, I wanted to see the whole process through, and luckily I've got the time that I could come tonight. I recognize that some people may have kids at sports or some other thing that would prevent them from coming, but since I had applied and I was able to come, I thought I should show up to see how the decision was made.
Okay, super. What's your thoughts on that, Lisa?
You know, I am always, think the more participation, the better off. But you bring up a very good point in that there are a lot of people that might not be able to be here at this time tonight for our meeting that might have wanted to, but they do have another obligation that they can't be here. So, without knowing that and not having been a recommendation on the application, it makes it a little bit harder to use that as a defining factor. It's also my understanding that you as the board chair are the one that appoint committee members, is that true?
my understanding is that we still would vote on the advisory committee.
Okay,
That's my understanding, unless I'm missing something. So,
okay. I
so
appreciate that.
we'd make a standard motion for appointments, and then we would vote on them. So, someone could make a motion and list a grouping of names or each individual. It's what the board wants to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to get the show on the road, so I would like to make a motion. Everybody that's in this room that's on our list, that wants to be part of this member, or the committee member, I want to make a motion that we accept all of them.
Okay, we'd need that motion to include their names, I think.
Can we, everybody stand up that wants to be on this, and I'm just gonna have you say your name.
Lori Pfeiffer. Dana Ken.
Oh, Bob Freshman?
Sarah Downing.
Wonderful. Thank you. Did you get all that?
Bob, Lauren,
Sarah Downing.
and Sarah. Thank you. So that's 4.
So that's 4, so we still have three more to fill.
Okay, so you're making a formal
I'm making a
motion to
formal
appoint
motion.
those. Okay, a
Yes.
motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion's made and second. Any other discussion on the appointment of the aforementioned 4 members to the Heritage Trail Committee?
I'm gonna say that the reason that I seconded is because there's still 3 openings. I mean, there's still room for, and these particular 4 did show that little extra, whether that's fair or not, it's not like that's the whole committee.
Right.
So there's still 3 spots that we can sort through.
Since there's discussion and since we're only looking at 7 people, do we want to assign those other 7 people tonight? How are you gonna handle the rest of the situation?
I'd say let's focus on this motion at hand, and then we can further discuss the additional 3 spots if this passes. If it doesn't, then we're still able to discuss all 7. Any other discussion on this particular motion? Okay, all those in favor of appointing the before-mentioned 4 members to the Trails Advisory Committee, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, passed unanimously. So we do have 3 more positions. If we would like, if a board member would like to make a motion for appointments to those 3, we can do that.
I know
Or,
Alan Holstein was, he's the only person that's reapplied to the committee. So, because of the work he did before and because he's reapplying, I think we should look at that. That's one person.
Do we have the list of all the other people? I don't have mine.
It should be in your packet.
Yeah.
there,
I don't
the
have
additional folks were printed and left here, and then the rest are in the main portion of the packet. I'm not sure.
And there's another individual, Dennis Wiley. This person is Dennis or Denise, I'm not sure. Retired Oregon Park and Recreation Department, 35-year career.
Page 48 is
That's
where.
another person I was looking at.
There's another packet, Lisa, do you want the packet?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much, Dana. Appreciate it.
Okay, you said Dennis Wiley?
Dennis, yeah.
Yeah, he's worked for 35 years in Oregon Park and Rec, so if you want experience, you're looking at it right there.
Yeah, retired Oregon Parks and Rec, 35 years, managed Shampooey State Heritage Area.
Dennis was involved with the original group that met at Champoy many years ago. I'm talking about the early 80s. He would be an excellent appointment. He has a tremendous knowledge as well.
Okay, any other discussion, any other names? I think there was a, let's see.
Well, I would say that, on Don's recommendation, if he thinks that Dennis Wiley, that's what you said, Dennis Wiley would be a good person, then I would agree with that.
Are you intending to make a motion or just stating an agreement?
I'm stating an agreement.
Gotcha.
So far we have Alan Holstein and Dennis Wiley that we've put forward, in addition to the 4 we already approved.
Those have been the 2 that
That we've
have been
discussed.
discussed, yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion that today we table the rest of these until our next meeting.
Well, that's leaving a whole lot of people sitting in lurch, waiting for yet another
But it will
month.
it'll give us a little more time to, because we didn't get some of these names until today. Instead of sitting here. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
I'd recommend, since Alan was put forth, he would make the 5th. That would give you 5 members. They could meet. Then they could recommend to you, if they so choose, 2 additional members, or you could then come back with the 2 members.
Well, I think that we already said Dennis was somebody that we would also include, so that would be up to 6, so it'd just be
No,
1.
there's
Yeah.
4.
4 plus Dennis and Alan, that's 6.
Yeah, you're correct. I'm off. I'm 1 off, okay. You're correct.
Motion is made on the table. Does anyone second that motion? Okay.
There's no
Is it-
reason why they couldn't meet, if we can discuss. There's no reason why they couldn't meet, even if they had an equal number. It just means that in order to get anything passed, you're gonna have to have the majority.
Right. Why
But-
don't we just, how about if I just put another name forward here, Jake Jadusa? I mean, it's just somebody that has a little bit of a different background, so.
I'll second it.
Okay, so, the motion on the table has died for lack of second. And if we wanna do a new motion, let's make sure we're wording it, correctly.
I would move that we put Dennis Wiley, Alan Holstein, and Jake Jadusa on the Cheyenne Heritage Trail Citizen Advisory Committee
Who was the
along with
last
the
one? I'm
Folk
sorry, I didn't hear
Peoples.
that.
Jake
Jake Jadusa.
Jadusa. Okay, a motion is made.
Is there any staff input before we move on this?
That's a good point.
I think everybody you just mentioned would be awesome. I'm familiar with the majority of them, 5 that are here, and one of the other 3. Or 4 that are here, excuse me.
Okay, I'll second Lisa's motion.
Can I ask a
Motion's
question?
been made
Sorry to
and
interrupt.
seconded.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry to interrupt your motion.
Mhm.
Did we discuss that, is there a reason it can just be 7? I must have missed that it can't be, remember we had more than that before on the trails
Yeah,
committee.
the general rules and what's printed in our information is that the committees are to be 5 to 7 members. We did discuss that at the prior meeting. I don't think we had any specific vote on it, but it seemed like the consensus was to cap the number at what we've put in there. Obviously, we can change that if we wish. If there's a majority of the board that wants to have an unlimited number, we could do that.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So by having the additional members, does that tend to help y'all with?
With my experience working with any committee or whatever, and particularly the Trails Committee, these people are obviously passionate and volunteers and have a big interest in that because they come forward. A lot of times they get tied up with other things that they can't be, at every meeting per se, but they have that interest and drive. And then sometimes things happen to where it does dwindle down as the year goes on or whatever. And then it also could stay the same. So, power in numbers we have a lot of trails and it's so unique, and to have people that are interested in that, I'd hate to say no to anybody personally.
So we do have a motion made and a second for appointment for 3 numbers as previously stated. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Okay. All those in favor for the appointments listed, I'm not sure if I have the name, it's Alan Holstein,
Jake Jadusa.
Jake Jadusa, and
Wiley, Dennis Wiley.
Dennis Wiley, okay? All those in favor of the appointment say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay?
Okay, let's party, guys.
Nay, I said nay.
Nay?
I'm a nay.
Okay. So that motion failed. Okay.
The other part of this is when we have committees like this, the general public can be there. And the general public can, help. They don't necessarily have to be, in fact, some people don't want to be on the committee because they don't wanna be involved with that, they just don't have time to be involved, but they wanna do work parties and so on and so forth, so they may come to some committee meetings, so. With that said, just because we don't elect someone on the committee, doesn't mean that they can't be involved or add good input at the meetings.
I'm interested in doing this one person at a time if that's what we have to do. So, let's see, the Dennis Wiley was the recommendation from Don, so I make a motion that we approve Dennis Wiley.
I second. Okay, a motion made and seconded for the appointment of Dennis Wiley. Any discussion on his appointment? Okay. All those in favor for the appointment of Dennis Wiley to Trails Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? I'll make a motion to appoint, and I apologize for what I'm about to do in my pronunciation, to appoint Om T. Sukahinai to the Trails Advisory Committee.
I'll second that.
Okay. A motion's made and seconded what stood out to me on this application is significant history of community involvement. Newburgh Rotary, Chehalem Chamber, McMinnville Chamber, business owner in the area. So that would be a good diversity of perspective on the committee. Any other discussion on this specific motion?
Well, I mean, given that, I just, yeah, all right, never mind. I'll withdraw my comment.
Okay. All those in favor of the appointment so stated to the Trails Advisory Committee, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. I believe we are at 6, if my math is correct, so.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Ellen Holstein for very similar reasons that you just meant. He's former member, he's Chamber of Commerce, Government Affairs Commission, and Willamette Valley Viticulture Technical Commission. So I would put his name forward as the last member.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion's made and seconded. Appointment of Alan Holstein to the Trails Advisory Committee. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the appointment of Alan Holstein to the Trails Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
I'm gonna abstain.
Abstain? Okay, then that did not pass. Okay, I will make a motion to appoint Jake Gendusa to the Trails Advisory Committee. I think he was part of a prior motion earlier in a grouping of folks.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion's made and seconded. Any more discussion on this motion? Okay. All those in favor of appointing Jake Gendusa to the Trails Advisory Committee, say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay? Okay. And that passes, and that does fill out our 7 spots on the committee. Okay.
But again, I want to make sure that the folks that weren't selected understand that, you know, they can come to the meetings and
Still happy.
we appreciate volunteerism in this district, and the more folks that we can get to help, the better. So, thank you for applying, those folks that didn't get selected tonight. Hope to see you on the trails and at the committee meetings.
Yeah, thank you, especially for those who attended the meeting tonight. Thank you. Okay, so our next item is Chehalem Glen Golf Clubhouse Development Citizens Advisory Committee presentation. I know there's a number of you. And so I'm assuming you guys want to do this one at a time, or did you all want to go together, or however you think it best makes sense, as long as you can go up to the podium, say your name so we get to know you, and then
Hi, I'm Dennis
Mr.
Lewis. Been a part of this community for 45 years, and we have a really nice opportunity here, I think, with this clubhouse. We have tourism that's burgeoning and is doing such a great job around us, and we have probably one of the better assets in this community in our golf course. And I think from the day they built that golf course, they were talking about opportunities of building a clubhouse that we could house events and have a place for people to meet for the community. So anyway, having said that, I've been very involved in our tourism arm of Pace Newburgh, which is supported by the transfer lodging taxes. And the hotels in this community are direct, they're the people that pay the fare into our community for these kind of things. And having been a part of this, I started to realize how important it was to have outsiders help us do what we need to do in our community. And that's kind of what happens when you get tourism here. It helps us support the amenities in a community that are so important to us as part of our infrastructure, our well-being. So in any case, I apologize. Percy Brandon, the general manager of the Allison, wanted to be here tonight to kind of give his perspective on how important this is to the hotel as a rural place to have events above and beyond their conference center, and the different things that are going on, and how the conference rooms are so important to the community to have more than just one type. And this would be another good asset for them because they can draw golfers into our community. So we'll say at the Allison, so we'll say in other opportunities. And he's very, very, very high on it when we talked to him about it. Another person that wanted to be here was, and she has written notice to you, the new owner of the Fairfield Inn, and it is a Marriott. And when you realize when people travel all over the globe, they go to Marriott, they go to Newburgh, Oregon. Where in Newburgh can I stay? A Marriott pops up. That's going to be very important to the fabric of our community. And they love the idea of having in their backyard, 1 mile away, a golf course with all the amenities that a restaurant would bring and other things. In any case, beyond that, I'd love to introduce Lee Jensen, who is our director of Taste Newburgh. She probably has the best perspective on how tourism helps in a community and what this building, if you will, that's not the right word for that, is it? This amenity in our community would mean to us. Lee?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lee Jensen. I am the executive, I'm going to put my glasses on or I cannot see those words in front of me. I am Lee Jensen. I'm the executive director for Taste Newburgh. I run the destination marketing organization for Newburgh. For those of you who don't know what that means, basically I market for people outside of 50 miles to come to Newburgh to stay the night. So they leave their money here, their transient lodging tax, and it helps our city, and it helps our community, our businesses, and so forth. So when Dennis told me about the proposed clubhouse for the golf course, I was like, first of all, that golf course is beautiful. It's a gem in our community. It's one of the most beautiful courses in Oregon, and we believe as a tourism that this would only enhance both golfers, visitors to welcome. There'd be social gatherings, events, and community engagement that can happen. A proposed clubhouse featuring amenities like the pro shop, dining facilities, meetings, designated spaces for a vibrant community atmosphere that would only improve the overall experience for golfers and also would serve as a hub for recreational activity and social events in Newburgh. But here's the cool part. Golf is an economic driver. In the latest study done by Golf Analyst of Oregon, in a collaboration with the National Golf Foundation in 2019, the direct economic impact for golf in Oregon was $1.6 billion. Stop for a second. The industry supports over 16,000 jobs for Oregon residents, with over $508 million in wages, incomes, and more than $69 million in state and local taxes. So it's a way to bring more money in. We saw during COVID, and that was 2019, so imagine what it's like now. They haven't done the most recent study. We saw during COVID that 8% increase of participation in outdoor sports and specifically in golf. So bringing this kind of thing into our community would only enhance that. And an Oregon travel impact study done in April of 2020, total spending for golf visitors was $12.8 billion. These leisure travelers account for 345,000 overnight stays made in Oregon in 2019 with an average spend of about $843 per trip. They spend that in our local businesses. And those are all, there's an organization called Dean Runyon that does these studies, and it's all verified. Golf courses with major golf houses, clubhouses, account for a majority of these kind of numbers. This is where the people like to go. As for tourism, we are a growing and emerging destination. Tourism in Oregon is growing. We have seen a lot of growth, and I believe that if the Chehalem Golf Course got an actual golf clubhouse and partnered with the city and businesses and tourism, it could just be another gem to our city here, which is amazing. You all know that. There you go.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Anyone else with the golf committee presentation? Just you two? Okay,
Super.
thank you. Okay, next we have a discussion item for pickleball committee appointments, if we're going to resume the pickleball committee. Are there any folks associated with the pickleball committee present tonight? There are not, okay. So by way of background, in our packet, a number of the pickleball committee folks did indicate they would like us to resume that committee and reopen applications for the standard 3-year terms. And if we agree with that as a board, I believe, Kat, you're ready to put the applications out for the period up to, is it a week prior to the next
Right, they
meeting?
would close on October 18th,
Okay,
the Friday before the next board meeting.
okay. So, with that said, any discussion with respect to the pickleball committee, resuming that committee for a new 3-year term?
I mean, if we're right at the process of trying to build pickleball courts, I really think the input from the people who use it would be really, really, really helpful. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for a motion, I would move that we go ahead and re-establish the pickleball committee.
And I would second that for sure.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to resume the pickleball committee. Staff is prepared for that, so do we have any other discussion? The board to direct staff? No? Okay, a motion is made and seconded to resume the pickleball committee, and staff will send out appointments, which will close on, you said October 18th, I
Yes.
think? And then we will review them for appointments at our next regularly scheduled board meeting. Okay. The next item, I just want to clarify, Springbrook emergency, that's something that you wanted to discuss, okay? Springbrook emergency vehicle maintenance agreement, and then you also gave us some information tonight, correct? Is that?
Correct.
Okay, so we'll all jump in this. Now, this is something that had come up before, I believe, in the board, but we didn't make a final decision to award
That's my understanding,
agreement.
yes. So
And so now you're here, so.
my name's
Go ahead.
Jesse Nemec with JT Smith Companies, and one clarification on the item, we're talking about Spring Meadow. not
Spring Meadow,
Springbrook.
okay. Slight typo there, Spring Meadow.
So, just to clarify a little bit of background, I've had a number of discussions with Dawn about this proposal, and we're the developer of the Crestview Crossing project, and through our grading efforts out there, we've cleaned up some areas of very steep slopes of the park and expanded the usable area of it. With the subsequent phase of the development, we also have a landscape plan where we're going to revitalize a lot of the plantings that's out there. And one of the things that I'm asking for is a maintenance vehicle access easement that would cross the park. And what this would look like would be, as far as physical improvements go, is grass that can structurally support a fire truck. We would dig out some of the turf, put in a rock base, some grid, and then topsoil and seed it back. And in discussions with Don, his request in turn would be to make a pedestrian connection from Highway 99 to Victoria. And so we worked together to kind of find a way that we can make both of those things happen. We've looked at extending the sidewalk from the termination on Highway 99 up Victoria to fill in that gap. However, there's a lot of ADA challenges in making that ramp system work. So our compromise was, let's find another way to make this pedestrian connection possible without turning it into a major ODOT permit. So in the sketch that I've provided, the green area would be the area that would be the structural sod or turf, and then the yellow highlight would be that pedestrian connection that we would make. So I've also included a proposed maintenance agreement and access easement, basically saying that we would pay for maintenance of any of the structural integrity, should there be any. Foreseeably, there shouldn't be. Just the perpetual right for emergency vehicles to be able to cross from our property to the public right-of-way in Victoria. And I don't necessarily expect you guys to read it all and vote to approve on it tonight, but I would like to put it on the agenda for approval at a future board meeting. We'll need to work together with staff to correct some signature blocks on who the appropriate person is to sign the easements should you agree to it.
Okay, staff, Casey, this is something you brought up, right, for this meeting?
Yes, it was an email to Dawn.
Okay.
I was CC'd on it, so.
Okay.
It's something
we've talked about for the last 7 years.
Yeah, I recall us discussing it, I wanna say 6 or 7 months ago in a meeting. Do we feel like we're able to make any decisions tonight on this? Or is this something that we need to? Yeah.
I feel that we could make a decision tonight, but we shouldn't. Number one, I think the agreement should be reviewed by the attorneys before we sign anything.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation. The other question is, I believe you added some land to the park, is that correct?
We've added some usable land. It's
Right.
still on your property, but we've kind of flattened out a very steep slope and extended the terrace, if you will.
So there's no additional property being added?
Correct.
Okay.
And this is all approved by the city and everything?
Correct.
Okay.
What we'll do is put this on the agenda for the next month, and we'll have the attorney review this and make sure, just to be.
Okay. So for now, while we have you here, the board, if we have any questions for you or for staff right now before it gets put on the agenda, Jim, looks like you.
Yeah, I was reading through the contract, and there are some things that need to be cleaned out, not legal things, but just how it's written and so on, so I'm sure that once attorneys look at it, it'll be great. The other thing though is I was wondering, and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, I think I talked to Brian about this a little bit, is whether that sidewalk should come over and basically be right next to that grass-creed area, because you've got a big spot right there of green that's gonna be basically non-usable, where if you move it right next to that, and then it will be more usable on our side of the property. Second thing was, and I'm not saying, I'm just talking to the staff about this, and you guys can make a decision, I'm just throwing it out there. We're gonna lose one of the big maples out of that when you guys come through, I think. If I'm not exactly sure how it's coming down, but if we lose that, one of those big maples, it'd be great to have it replaced. In my
I don't
opinion.
I don't believe any of the maples, close to our property line would be impacted, but there is one tree that's on the
Along the
Victoria
street.
frontage, yes.
Right, and that's a pretty good sized mature maple. So, looking for apples there, and then it's great you're bringing the ADA entrance off that sidewalk down to where the crosswalk really is.
Yes.
Back in the
That's
day,
something I forgot to mention, yeah.
Back in the day, they like to put ADA right in the middle of the street. So that's good.
So we'll
I'm sure
fix
city's happy
the
about that
ramp
too.
and the crosswalk
Yeah.
misalignment, yeah.
And I know, and I appreciate at least that part of the sidewalk being replaced, because I know it's broken up right there, and so on, and I'm not sure the sidewalk sizes are the same, or whatever the city requires, but I'm sure that's what take place. But just, that'll be a non-usable, in theory, area, because it's pavement, but it's not quote paved, it's gonna be grasscrete with concrete, is that what it is?
No, it'll be grass.
It's grass.
It'll be grass throughout. The only thing that'll be concrete will be the sidewalk.
Oh, okay.
Turf
All right,
cells.
because I thought that to drive on top of that, you would need to have some kind of either a plastic membrane or
No, it's like
a,
the Echo Blocks, Jim, that they're memorial.
right,
The entrance off of Howard Street there, between the city's property and the park itself.
I know exactly what it is, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm assuming Jesse's gonna, it's the same type of.
Yeah, there's a number of different products out there. Some of them are made out of concrete, some of them are made out of fiber infused resin,
Right.
plastic.
Right.
And different products allow more grass to grow through them than others. But the intent would be that the trained eye would be able to see where it is, so the fire truck knows to go across. But it looks like grass.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Okay, any other questions for the board, knowing that this will be brought back to us at our next meeting?
Does staff is in support of this is a good thing?
Yeah, we've been working with them for, like I said, about 7 years.
Okay, thank
Actually,
you.
I do have one question. The
Okay.
way I'm reading this, there's no cost to CPRD.
Correct.
Okay, and no future cost with the maintenance that you're.
Correct.
Well, I think, I don't know, when I'm just looking the grantor, the problem with this is that it's not defined as to who the beneficiary and who the grantor is, so that makes it a little bit more challenging, but I'm assuming that the beneficiary is Spring Meadow?
Correct,
And-
the
okay.
beneficiary of the easement.
So, we will be responsible for the landscaping, for keeping all of that up to date. It's just if this deteriorates, then you guys would come back and fix it, or is?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. So it's grass there now,
Right.
and we're gonna make it structural grass.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
for
and we'll see
coming
you next
in and
month.
helping us with that, yeah, thank you. Now we will move to agenda item number 11, executive session. The executive session is consult with legal counsel, consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection or for other purposes provided by ORS 1926602H, ORS 1926602F, ORS 1926602B, and ORS 1926602I. We will take approximately a 5-minute break, and then we will go into executive session. And this session is not available for public review or to sit in, so, yeah.
So if you wanna go home, you can,
You want to stick Okay. Providing a notice that media are allowed to be in some executive sessions per Oregon statute, but not in other types of executive sessions via Oregon statute.
Can't disclose.
And they are not allowed to disclose anything that is stated in executive session. Okay, thank you. Okay, we are back in regular session. The board has accepted the resignation of our superintendent. We will pay all salary and benefits up through the date of June 30th of 2025.
We'll need a motion and a vote to accept that.
And I will entertain a motion by the board to accept that statement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made in a second. Again, the motion is to accept the resignation of the superintendent, pay the salary and benefits up through June 30th of 2025. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Our next, we're going to table the discussion for action item A this time. And we will move to action item B, which is discussion of the Ewing Young Bridge processing options. We do have legal counsel who's drafted and prepared some information for us. And he's also available for questions, of course. So I will hand that over to him.
So in the last board packet, thank you. In the last board packet, you had a memo on options for the park. Is that in your back packet again? I have copies here, I'll just.
Okay, yeah, that was in the prior packet, I believe.
Thank you.
So I believe you discussed it at the last meeting a little bit. I'm happy to walk through it very quickly and then any questions that you may have. Basically, the goal that I was asked to do is try and find a way that CPRD can work collaboratively with the county to find a way to get the bridge built at Ewing Young Park. And in the past, the application had been denied based on the county's longtime policy on how they treat transportation projects. And in order to get around that, I'm proposing a 3-step approach. The first step is to ask the county to do a legislative code amendment where they amend the possible conditional uses for the park zone, and that it have language that essentially says that you can have a transportation facility in the park zone that has no negative impact on nearby agricultural uses. I believe that the park here would easily meet that criteria because there are no nearby agricultural uses and the bridge would be internal only to the park. The second step would be if the Board of Commissioners of the county approves beginning that process, that would take it to the Planning Commission for consideration. And upon the Board of Commissioners moving forward on that, i.e. signaling that they're fine with working with us on that, then the district would submit an application to change the comprehensive plan designation and the zoning of the part of the park that is in county jurisdiction. Right now, it's zoned in agricultural forestry 10 and I think low density residential, I believe is what it is. Yeah, VDR. I think either 5 acre or 2.5 acre. But so it would take that property out of that zoning and it would put it in the park zone.
And then that would go before the planning commission so that they could consider that application along with the legislative code change at the same time. The planning commission does not have the authority to approve or deny either. They would just do a recommendation to the county commission so they can consider both at the same time. If the county commission approves the legislative code change and the zone change and the comprehensive plan change, then that would clear the path for then the district to move forward with a conditional use permit for the bridge under the newly added code criteria. And in order to make sure that this is a collaborative approach that the county is supportive of, the last time that this came up, one of the issues was that the 2018 master plan for the park has a trail connection going south of, basically building a second bridge to the south to connect off the property. And so what I would recommend to the board is the board, if you move forward with this, you go ahead and you vote to amend that master plan to remove the southern trail connection, which I believe would be necessary to fulfill the code requirement we're proposing of no impact on agricultural use, because there is agricultural use to the south. And so as long as the bridge only allows for internal park connection to do the trail extension and the disc golf course or whatever else the district chooses to put there, then I believe we meet all those standards. I believe that's consistent with the county's policy on transportation facilities. It's consistent with the LUBA decisions in a long string of cases that the county has gone through recently on transportation facilities. And I believe it balances the dynamics of supporting both recreational and agricultural interests at the same time. Happy to answer any questions.
So what kind of time frame do you think this will take?
That's largely up to the county. So what I would recommend is that I have a letter drafted, which is the formal petition to the county to start the code change amendment. I have it drafted and dated for tomorrow, if the board so chooses. Because of the fact that I'm leaving, I promised Matt I will draft it, and if you choose not to send it, I'm not going to charge for the time to put it together. But it is ready to go. I can pull the trigger tomorrow on that, and then if the county commissioners would have to schedule a hearing at some point to discuss that, whenever they choose to do that, if they move forward, then at that point we could submit an application, a comp plan change and a zone change. The main factor on how long that takes is what kind of opposition, if any, there is. And so the main opposition tends to be either from neighbors, which I would expect here. The neighbors of the park are likely going to object to anything, at least one of them. And then possibly more organized groups like 1,000 Friends of Oregon or Farm Bureau or something like that potentially could object. And if there's any objections, that can slow it down. If there's no objections, comp plan change, I would say to get it to the planning commission, maybe a month and a half to 2 months after we submit the application, and then another month or two. I mean, we're talking probably if 6 months from now you have the code change and all the approvals, that would be a good timeline. It's not going to be anytime soon.
And you haven't, other than obviously the neighbors who will be not happy, the county has not expressed, I mean, they denied the application the last time we wanted to do the bridge, so.
Right.
They're seeing a legal way forward, is that why they're?
Yeah, so I've discussed it, the broad outlines with the planning director, who will defer to the county commission. The planning director is supportive of anything that the district and the commission come together on and wants to help with that. I have discussed it kind of very preliminarily with the board chair and to gauge interest, and there's interest there if we can move forward on a collaborative manner. And I think I'm not sure, Matt, if you've discussed it with other people as well.
Just the concepts,
Yeah,
so not
just-
the legal details.
Yeah, not the specific language or anything. I certainly don't have county approval for specific language.
No.
But the general concept, I think,
Okay.
seems to be an acceptable way to kind of thread the needle on hopefully making everybody happy. And, you know, I'm kind of a pessimist, so I'm assuming that there's probably someone we don't make happy. But you would, I think the plan would be you submit the petition and then you'll see. And if there is a big objection, you just don't move forward with the rest of it. You know, they could vote it down and then that's it, and, you know, but you don't know until you ask.
Thank you.
Yeah, several things. Casey, question for you. As I recall on that plan, there was only an arrow for a future trail, whatever, connection. I don't remember a bridge.
Yeah.
Other than the bridge that we have.
It shows another bridge.
Oh, does it?
Yep, and I've already talked to John, and.
So you talked to Kim
with the
Friday about
board-
that?
Huh?
You talked to Kim Friday.
Well, yeah, I've talked to Ken too, he said that didn't help, and the fact that, you know, the board can make the decision to amend that master plan, and John has it in a digital file, and he can just pull it out of there.
Yeah, so the file kind of looks, the master plan screenshot kind of looks like this. And there's just a red arrow coming down here, and since this is the creek, there'd be no way to have a path without a bridge. But it doesn't show a specific bridge, it just shows somewhere this way.
And that was 20 acres?
It's 14, isn't it?
What is it?
11
It's 11 acres.
11 acres.
11 acres of
Yeah.
landlocked public land.
Yeah, and, you know, you could try and get it added to the urban growth boundary of the city of Newburgh, but in my experience messing with urban growth boundaries, that opens up an entirely different can of worms, and I think that is more likely to run across challenges, because then you end up dealing with a whole nother set of interest groups that have policy concerns specific to UGB expansion that are totally unrelated to what you're trying to do.
And you might have wrote it in here, I don't know, how many hours you think is gonna be involved from the legal team on this? Just in general.
In general, I would say for a comprehensive plan, I have hard time giving hours, but let me give you dollar figures, because that's what you really care about,
Same
right?
thing.
So, I would guess something like this would be, 10,000 would be the lowest range. That's if everything goes right. That never happens. You're probably looking at 30 grand on the high range, and it's probably gonna be more in the 15 to 25 range.
And one other question to Casey, I'm sorry to take up everybody's time, but, are you going to have to reapply for land use for the city?
Probably. Unless I
Okay, so
can
that's
ask,
not been-
unless I can ask for an extension, but I think that time has passed.
Okay.
I'll talk to Clay about it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I know there was no objections from the city side, there was just objections from the county side.
Need a motion?
I'd make a motion to accept the recommendations in the memorandum for land use options for Ewing Young Park Bridge, which include the 3 steps provided, as well as the amendment to the master plan, removing the bridge on, is it the south side?
The south side.
On the south side of the Ewing Young Park.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded. Any other discussion, conversation? Okay. All those in favor of the motion so stated, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay. Thank you very much for coming and for your work on this, so.
Okay, and you've already seen the letter drafts, are you good with me just sending it tomorrow morning?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's basically what's represented here.
Very good.
Perfect. Okay, action item G, Memorial Park Trail Improvements. Who wants to take that up? Oh, there you are.
Yep. What I'm requesting from the board is permission to proceed with paving the asphalt paths in Memorial Park. It was originally part of our repair and replacement budget with Jacobit Park and Memorial Park and Hoover Park and part of Shad Park. You saw the benefit of what the improvement at Jacobit Park.
Mm-hmm.
Memorial Park is in just as much dire need for the improvement there, safety concerns as well as just age, and it needs to happen. One of the unique things, and these are, they were all vetted, and it's the same bid packet that we put out a year ago. The same contractor that was awarded the bid, or in my mind, was gonna do it, the same company that did Jake with. They would adhere to the price on 9/24/23 and give us that same price. And they have a window right now that they can do the project next week even, so we could get that done, which is unique. So that.
And this has already been budgeted?
I would take this out of contingency.
Contingency.
Because it was removed from the repair and replacement budget.
Understood. And what is the amount?
It's $27,806.
So that's a little bit.
It is the second lowest bid, but it was the lowest bid.
A year ago.
Yes, and the other company will not, the lowest bid at the time, is raise their prices quite a bit.
Okay.
So you're taking this out of contingency, or is it, it's not budgeted?
It is not budgeted, therefore, that's why I'm presenting to the board today.
And most likely, bids like this would be going up significantly over the next
Absolutely.
year. We'd be looking at probably more like 40,000 or more.
And then the likelihood of the window closes now seasonally to get this kind of work done, so.
It's now or never.
Absolutely, it would go up by next spring.
For sure.
I move that we approve the Memorial Park Trail improvement.
Second it.
Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion regarding awarding the bid for roughly $27,000 for Memorial Park Trail improvements to the asphalt paths? Okay, seeing no further discussion. All those in favor of the motion so stated, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. Reports and comments from board members. We will start this side here, and we'll just go in order.
Not a whole lot, just that the Cultural Center did have its grand opening of the theater and the movement studio, and that was on September 7th, and I have a few of my fellow board members join me, so thank you. It's a beautiful building, and it's pretty much almost the last thing to be done, so if you haven't been over, I would encourage you to go take a look, it's really nice. And thank you, Casey, for all the work that you did on
Sean did a lot of it.
it. Sean did do a lot of it, but so did
Sean
you.
paid for it all.
But you gave him the confidence though too, to
Yep.
move forward, so thank you. That's all I got.
Okay. And I was gonna say the same thing. Thank you for the invite to the opening of the LaJoy Theater. It was the three of us that were able to attend. It was an incredible. It's just an incredible achievement. I think the building is incredible and did a very good job. It's something else. So that's all I have.
I have nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Spring Meadow looks really good in the back part in the woods where you got rid of all those invasives, so kudos to the park staff for doing
Okay, reports from staff. Superintendent report, is there anything you'd like to share?
We met with the auditor today. The audit for 22-23. I believe it ended in 23, so it was 22-23 audit. For the board's information, there's a surplus there of about 11 million. We should be able to finish the projects that you have approved. The Rennie project should be done. The second project is the Sanders project should be completed. We have more than enough funds by which to do that. We also have enough funds to finish the Jaquith Park project, which is the resurfacing of the tennis courts and the pickleball. After that, you should meet and make a decision on what your next projects are. Those projects should probably be completed, my guess is, by the end of next summer and the fall. If everything goes well, the Dundee project there may be some hiccups, but the bid should be out. The racquetball and those type projects will be completed. The other thing to report is with the Rennie project, as you well know, we got a grant for $1 million. And then we got $750,000 grant. That money will be available. It will be put in next year's budget by which to utilize. And that money will go in the general fund. Part of that money will probably be used to pay for maybe some repair and replacement. The prior 3 years on repair and replacement, we've had about $600,000 to $800,000 spent each year. That's to replace the mowers, all the golf carts from time to time, those type things. We're in pretty good shape there. You will have to make a decision on whether to do the golf course and clubhouse, or just the clubhouse, or do the campground. That's your next big decision. That's out on 2/19. That'll take longer. But I believe the funding will be such that you could complete those projects. Also, depending on what happens with SDCs. But my guess is, based on what I'm seeing in the community, those will be pretty hefty. And you may be able to do both projects within a 3 to 5 year period if the SDCs hold up like I think they're going to hold up. Long term, we're talking about 8 to 12 years from now. You need to look at a possible repair of buildings and HVAC systems. The golf course is gonna need a new irrigation system, those type things. That will probably take a small tax increase. Currently, this district has a tax base of cents per thousand. We told the community many years ago that if they gave us that tax base, what we'd do, and it's in writing. We did that and much more, but we did that. The highest tax rate that we've had in the district is $1.54 when we built the first pool. The second pool was only $1.41 per. So from 90 to 40 cents would give us, if we put the same amount there, would give us quite a bit of money. And that's something that you need to plan for and look long range. So, but the audit, there's always problems with audits. One of the things was like on the correction date, they're saying that it was 32 days. We announced it instead of 30. I think they're wrong on that, but I didn't question it because I didn't think it made a difference. And there's some other issues with insurance, but the auditor will be presenting all that when the audit comes out. And there's a few discrepancies that I noticed, like we had a 200 and something thousand miscellaneous negative. My question to the auditors was, why is this negative? I don't understand. The response that I got was, it's actually taxes from the county. And we had more taxes than others. But then if you go to the bond issue side, there was 200 and something thousand positive there under miscellaneous. And I said, what is that? That's the taxes that we're talking about. So it's a little confusing. It could be misrepresented, but it all kind of evens out, and there's a reason for it. And we're working with the auditors now to do all that. So that was the main thing that I wanted to tell you about. I think that audit will be available to you within probably 2 weeks, if not sooner. So your next board meeting, definitely. That's it.
Thank you. Casey, do you have a report?
Just that we're continuing to work on the projects, the Santa Estate, the pickleball, and the Rennie project.
Mm-hmm.
And I spend a lot of hours at the golf course.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It looks
looking pretty
beautiful.
tan.
Yeah.
My wife says I look tired, so.
I'm sure that's true too.
Okay, Kellen.
Nothing pressing. We're still busy out there.
Mhm.
The nice weather. We finished tournament season as of a couple weeks ago. We actually have one more in mid-October, but otherwise we're kind of just down to normal public play, and hours are getting shorter, so less golfers, but still a lot of them out there.
Yeah. Right?
No, I got nothing. Getting stuff done.
Okay. Good stuff. And I believe that is it, so we will adjourn. Thank you.